Welcome to the show, gang. I hope you're all doing great. I am so damn excited for today because I get to hang out with one of my brothers, Mr. Efrem Schulz. And Efrem, he's a dude. We did 32 shows basically back to back together, got to know each other really well, and always wanted to hook up again, but we had a couple of problems. I had a problem at the border I couldn't get over at one point, in life, and we're all busy. Finally we get to sit down face to face and check in and see what he's up to as well. He's singing with Death by Stereo, Voodoo Glow Skulls, Manic Hispanic. He's involved with the podcast Into the Weeds. Check it out; it's really awesome. They had Tommy Chong on it; it was wicked. But yeah, so just hang out with us. The audio is a bit dodgy at times, but you know what? The content's there and it's a good freaking time. So don't forget to hit subscribe, slap that notification bell and all that. It really helps me grow the channel. And if you want to be a producer of the next episode, there's a virtual tip jar in the below the video link, and 25 cents or higher, anything dropped in there, you become producer of the next show. It's direct support. That's a way you can help out if you have the means or want to. And yeah, let's just get it on. I want to hang out with Efrem. Talk soon, gang. Boom. Boom. Came and don't know shit. My brother.
Yeah. Can you hear me, dude?
How are you? I hear you beautiful.
Dude, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. I mean, obviously these days everything's been pretty messed up. Damn, it's great to see your face.
Dude, it's really good to see your face. I miss you, man.
So much. So much. Where are you right now?
I'm in my car driving, and I was driving to a spot where I knew it would be all quiet and I could just hang out with you, dude. But you're in my car.
Yeah.
You're in the little Toyota.
I love it.
Right now. Dude, I fucking miss you so much, man. It is so goddamn good to see you, brother.
Fuck, it's been too long, eh?
Way too long. I still dream about going to Jamaica one day and hanging out and writing some tunes with you, man.
We're gonna make that happen, you know. We got one life to live.
Exactly. As soon as the Rona stops eating us all up, you know.
Shit. Yeah, I hear it's pretty bad out your way, isn't it?
Dude, it's awful. Got all these people that think it's a hoax and don't believe in it. And you're like,
the level of crazy out there.
Oh, dude, the level of crazy here is pretty next level, dude. Like, I don't know how to describe these people. Like, they think they're fighting for their freedom or protesting something, and you're just like, dude, you've never had to fight for freedom in your life. You know what I mean? Like, you're not fighting for shit. You know, like, dude, but it's their right to not wear a mask and get other people sick or something. But I'm always covered up when I go outside and try to.
I got you, man.
and I'm just trying to respect others, dude, and take care of our fellow humans and treat everyone with love, man. And even those people that want to hurt us, I'm showing them love too, because I don't want to get them sick.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. You know, it's insane. I was just telling somebody the other day, you know, like, we all know there's so many fucked up people in this world, you know, that, don't really care about freedom and don't really care about this thing, but are using all these things, to prove some random point or whatever. But the only positive thing I can actually see these days is that at least they're not hiding anymore. I know where they are.
Oh, dude, it's funny because I really pay a ton of attention to my Facebook page. I'll post things on it, but I don't really go back and look at it. And I kind of fell out of it. I'm more of like an Instagram guy, but I'm even bad at Instagram. Like, dude, I don't always check my inbox. I'm terrible. But, dude, I posted something politically minded the other day. I don't even remember what post it was. And I was getting annihilated by like a few dudes. And I was like, wow, these guys are truly ignorant. But then tried to call me out. Well, you need to go through this, start deleting people and da-da-da-da-da. And for a minute, I was like, yeah, fuck all these people. I'm deleting them all. And then the bassist from Death by Stereo, Robbo, was like, nah, man. He's like, you got them right where you want them, just like you were saying. You know? And he's like, you know where they are. You know who they are now. And I was like, that's right. I need to keep an eye on the fools.
I went through that the other day. I had posted some, one of the million random bullshits that Trump says these days. And
Oh God,
I hold back. I explode. I have to post something for my own well-being. And then somebody, posted in a comment about how they're pro-Trump. He's the best thing in the world and all this crazy. I let it go. I don't answer at all, right? But then, somebody extreme on the other side even posts like, oh my God, you have a bunch of Trump friends. I'm unfriending you. You know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck, man?
It's like, dude, like the internet isn't real life.
Right?
It's not real life. These people aren't real friends just because Facebook says they're my friend. Like.
Well, that's it. And like I said, like I was telling my buddy, it's like, I really do want to hear what they have to say, even if I can't understand it. I do want to know they're there, and I do want to know what they're thinking.
My cousin said an interesting thing to me. We were talking about a friend of mine who I knew when I was a lot younger, and as we got older, his views became very different from mine. But I know that he's inherently not a bad person, and he cares about me. And I mean, shit, I've seen this dude beat up Nazis at shows when I was young, and he said some things that are so I just can't get with. And people change, it's cool, but it's not cool when it gets to a certain extreme. And I was ready to just erase him from my life. And then my cousin goes, dude, you know what? You don't know what happened to him. What happened to him to make him this way? He's like, maybe you should try and be a closer friend and talk to him and show him some love. And maybe he can learn from that and grow and be part of the solution instead of pushing him away.
Absolutely. And I do agree with that. My only problem is, do I have the energy and time to teach everybody?
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. And now there are some people I fully understand cannot be taught, and there is no sympathy in my heart for a Nazi at all. Nazis, in World War II, no one was friendly to the Nazis. That's not how we won. And you know what I mean? The whole world won by not being friendly to Nazis. The world won by stomping the fuck out. And Nazis deserve nothing less than to get stomped. But, I do always try and approach things from a place of love and kindness, because I think maybe a lot of people are like this because they've never known love or kindness in their life.
And this is one of the reasons I absolutely love you, brother. It farted out on you. I said, this is one of the reasons I absolutely love you.
Well, dude, thanks, man. I really appreciate that, dude, But, yeah, I am, I'm just trying to, like you and all our friends, we're just trying to navigate this insanity. And I was, we all have dreamed of the day that there would be a social change and a revolution of thinking and a revolution in the minds of the general public. And it's happening, but none of us knew that it would happen during a global pandemic.
Right? It's insane.
Exactly. And I've heard someone else say something. I may not be saying as eloquently or with the same words, but someone saying, you got to really look at how bad the situation is if this many people are willing to risk their lives in a pandemic to go and protest.
Well, that's it. I mean, I can only speak for Canada, really. But I mean, one of the things is I think the Canadian ego has even grown a bit too much, because here we are thinking we're so nice and stuff. But I mean, it's coming out of the woodwork here too, right?
Right.
And it's not just in one area. Everybody's like, oh, West, maybe it's a little worse than here. No. It's here. They found Nazi flags in people's fucking apartments here, right in Montreal, one of the biggest cities, North America. It's like, what the hell is going on, man? I thought that was all old news and it was done.
Exactly. Hello? Sorry.
Yep, you're back.
Don't try to call me. Yeah, it's never done. It's funny. Out here, it's, you always talk about there's the good side of town and the bad side of town. Out here, the bad side of town is where all the rich people live, dude.
That's it, right?
There's Big Highland in the street, dude. You know what I mean? And I've said it, dude, they rushed to reopen things here and people just got more sick. And there was a line around the Gucci store with people waiting to get in, not wearing masks. So I was like, you know what? It's all those people getting everyone that's working sick.
Well, you know what? Maybe this is a time where natural selection is just going to take its, take its toll.
I know. Natural selection. And yeah, dude, I it's bewildering. I don't totally know how to intake it all, but I've just been I've tried to raise my voice. It's hard for all of us to get out there and protest because, for instance, I've been holding it down with my mom, and we have to protect our mothers and our grandparents right now, especially. And I can't risk getting her sick, And I made it out to a march. I made it out to a march, but man, I had to skate on the other side of the street following the march. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
me and you.
It's a time of sacrifice, though. It really is. Like, I haven't seen my daughter in 3 months.
Oh, man.
Because she's living with her 85-year-old grandfather, right? And that's more important right now. Yes, we talk on the phone and stuff like that, but these are sacrifices that we're making right now. And it is what it is. Are you managing to play any music through all this jazz at all?
We were trying to do some distanced stuff and make things happen, but we had to pull back from it because it just got so bad that, like, even people that are being good and distancing and not seeing anyone, it's just too risky.
Yeah, absolutely. I get it.
Yeah. And I've definitely been writing, and I have a lot of thoughts and I have a whole lot of songs to record, but, I'm waiting to go in to record that stuff. You know what I mean? But we did shoot a couple distanced Death by Stereo music videos for our new record. Like, we just put out a cartoon animated video because we were like, when this all went down, we're supposed to make a video. We can't all get together. So we made a cartoon.
I just saw it, by the way, and it's fantastic.
Thank you, man. And
yeah, man.
Also, we did shoot a video. I don't want to spill the beans. I'll tell you later. But where we each were able to go into a room one at a time separately and film all our parts separately and then edit them all together.
Yeah. Well, that's it. We have to get creative as fuck right now,
Oh, we most certainly do, dude. And I'm excited. We have this new record out, but, as you guys, as us, we canceled all our shows. All the tours got canceled. And some stuff in Europe and Canada, they're trying to rebook, but we know with how bad our country is that Canada and Europe won't let us in.
Isn't that fucked up? But it's so true. It's completely true.
Dude,
I was just saying how and it's so sad because I have so many fantastically great American friends in my life, and I feel for them, but I feel for the whole world because, it's in today's day and age. I mean, every country has an impact on the other. You know what I mean? Like, we're worldly people.
Absolutely. 100%. And, it's weird not seeing your friends you see every year, and even in your own country, we can't do the loop here. You can't do the loop there. You know what I mean? The circuit's gone, man. And even when things kind of return to a bit more of a normal place, dude, unfortunately, we know that a lot of venues aren't surviving this. And where are we going to play? So the one thing that I do have hope for is that people will rekindle the 90s DIY spirit when all shows were in weird places. You had to have a show in the back room at an Italian restaurant, or you had to have the show in someone's basement. You had to have this, there just wasn't places to do shows as much as they were now. And I think
weren't those shows so much fun?
They were the best. And
right.
And I think we're going to just have to get back to that. And I think that we're going to see the big bands. We're going to start getting to see in small rooms again, man.
I didn't think of that. That does make sense, though. I also think that there's going to be a big push for outdoor shows.
Oh, yeah. Oh, most definitely, which I love,
Right.
beautiful, you know, area. But, you know, they're saying April 21 that we can come to Canada, but we don't know if they'll let us in. They're saying next summer we could go to Europe 2021, but we don't know if they're going to let us in, dude, you know? So
yeah, it sucks so bad. We just we started booking a couple of shows in November. I was talking with the guys at Stomp the other day, and they're saying, "We'll book that." Who knows if it's gonna happen or not? We have no idea. You know,
yeah.
it's really something. Then you impressed me not only because of all the love I have for you, but how the hell do you do so much? I don't know how you manage your time, but man, yeah, I was thinking about it today before we talked. Not only are you singing for Voodoo Blow Skulls, not only are you singing for Death by Stereo, there's something still going on with Manic Hispanic. You have the
Yeah.
podcast Into the Weeds going on.
Yes, dude. Yeah, Manic Hispanic is an Orange County thing. It's been a long-running band for long before me. They've been a band for we've been a band for 20, 40 years or something like that now. And I came into the band in 2008, and we never really toured. But it is this crazy California phenomenon to where the band toured before me, but not a lot. And how would I describe it? The records are all out of print, so you can't even hear it, you know? But we're trying to get them back and get them repressed, and we have a new album that got delayed because of COVID. But if Cheech and Chong were a punk band, that's Manic Hispanic, you know? And
the Brown album, amazing.
oh, totally. And, you know, and the Brown album. and we it's just a joke. We have a lot of fun, and we're still doing it. We just are waiting this out too. But Manic is this weird Orange County phenomenon, man, without any music available at all. Dude, we would play a show and it's just slammed, and we're like, dude, like, what is going on? And we take old punk songs and we change all the lyrics into Mexican jokes.
Brilliant.
Yeah, you know? So something like The Offspring's Keep Them Separated is Get Them Immigrated. You know what I mean?
I almost spit out my fucking
Exactly. Or Social Distortion's Mommy's Little Monster is Mommy's Little Cholo. You know, and we write the songs from the perspective of a, you know, Mexican-American kid growing up in the Southern California punk rock scene, you know, and there's a lot of humor in that, you know, and the new record, we do, we, you know, we're, like we do the Bouncing Souls True Believers, but it's called Mas Chingones, which means I'm a badass, you know, like total bad motherfucker, you know, we are the bad motherfuckers instead of true believers, you know. So like,
fuck yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. And the Into the Weeds podcast has kind of been put on hold for a long time now because of COVID, and we kind of got defunded.
Boo! Because I loved it. You had fucking Tommy Chong on there.
Oh, dude. That was mind-blowing. I have to give all hats off to Ben Rispin, the creator of the podcast, who made it happen. You know Ben. He plays in Rules. He was in the video Dead, Saint Alvia. What an amazing human being, period. And he's a big advocate for cannabis in Canada. And he's really helped a lot of people. And not just us dudes that just like to get high. He's helped a lot of sick people get their medicine. He's a great guy. And Bubba's
that's it, man.
What's that?
That's it. You know, sometimes it's time for the medicine.
Ooh, I like your style. And so we do the podcast. We had Tommy Chong on. We've been so lucky that it kind of caught on and like got legs, and all of a sudden like the idea is killing it, you know. And it was an audio podcast, but we always filmed everyone with GoPros or cameras just in case. And then High Times came along and picked up a few episodes, videos on High Times. So I could, dude, like High Times, and
dude, it's crazy.
Yeah,
I listened to a bunch. I saw the one with Kenda and Chuck Coles on there as well. They were great.
Dude, Kenda's the best. Chuck's the best, and I'm so lucky to be surrounded by so many beautiful Canadian friends. You know, and Canada's always been just, God, one of my favorite places on the planet. I love coming to Canada. I feel so grateful for my time in Canada. Yeah, we've talked to so many interesting people, and we really try and keep it broad and talk to all sides of the coin. Like we talked to Greg Hetson from Bad Religion and Circle Jerks, who's sober. You know, we want the sober perspective. Right. I want to know why cannabis is great, but I also want to know why it may not be great for someone else. It's not for everybody. And this is what Tommy Chong said. He said, this is the greatest thing about cannabis. The best thing about weed on earth is that you don't have to smoke it.
That's well said. I never thought of it that way. But one thing I like about it also is, like, you know how you're saying it's different for different people? That is such a real thing. You know what I mean? Like the same herb will have a different effect on two different people. There's something magical there, you know?
I got to tell you, it's so funny. Like, I would always laugh. One of my bandmates in Manic Hispanic, Gabby, he passed, my dude. I love you, Gabby. He never smoked weed. Right. And I remember him telling me, because he was a sober guy, but I remember him telling me, he's like, yo, homie, back in the day, I did like the craziest drugs you could ever think of. The craziest shit, like the most fucked up shit on earth. He's all, but I smoked one joint and I fucking was terrified. I'm so paranoid. I couldn't stop thinking. And I'm all, really? And it made me realize this is really different for everybody. You know, for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it helps me find answers. It helps calm my anxiety, you know, and dude, you know me, I'll go full time raging with it. And then sometimes I just want it all, you know, and
yeah. I was explaining to somebody that I always smoke before I work out. Like I'll go jog or bike for an hour. I love that. It keeps me focused on what I'm doing, you know?
Yes.
It's not the same for everybody.
No, like, and also, I think it depends on where your headspace is at that moment or on that day. Like that's kind of funny. I've gotten real high and hit a trail and just gnarly hike, you know, and I was just like on it. I've gone on a jog like that. But then one day I remember our drummer Mike hit me up and he's like, hey, you want to go for a run with me? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was all, hold on, man. I pulled out a big old bomber. Woo! And dude, about half a mile in, he's looking back. Are you okay? I should have got stoned. It's just, it catches you on.
Yes, you should have.
But, you know,
that's wild.
It is a killer, and it's definitely truly helped me. You know, I've had different, like stomach issues and stomach problems in my life. And like, dude, honestly, I had doctors pushing pills down my throat. You know, I got on a natural diet. I started eating well. I started really focusing on myself and using the herbs. And I do no pills. You know, I got rid of all the meds they gave. You know,
it's wild. And I mean, like, there's also so much variety too. Like something might, you know, help you out physically or whatever, but another might have the complete opposite as well. That's why it's such a large thing. You know what I mean?
It's nuts. I remember
you start learning.
It was just weed, but now it's like, you know, you're like, oh man, I got weed. It's just weed. But like now it's just like
exactly.
You can do it and you can find what works for you. This helps you sleep. This type doesn't. This strain works for that. And it's great how incredible that we have this at our fingertips now.
And you also got to love just the research process of finding out which one is good for you. It means you have to test all kinds, and that's fun too.
I've done some deep research, as you have too.
Yeah, brother. So what are you going to be recording with next? Is it like Voodoo or is it With Death by Stereo? Do you have any, like, what's the next recording coming on?
Well, the DBS record's done. It gets released August 7th. We were so lucky that we were able to get the order in right under that COVID line, and we got our vinyl. I know a lot of people didn't, unfortunately. So it comes out August 7th. We dropped our first single like a week ago with that cartoon. It's called California Addiction. And then, you know, it's basically about how I'm addicted to this horrible place. Like, you know, this is the best place on earth, but it is also the worst. You know, like I say this is a place of filth. This is a place of greed, but it's the place that I love and the place I need, you know, like.
But you grew up there though.
Born
like you're totally born and raised. Yeah. I've never even been to California in my life.
Dude, and you were supposed to come. I know. I wanted to see you so bad. And but
The American border, man, we had troubles.
I know one day we're gonna figure this out, dude. And but it's a beautiful place of love and kindness and diversity, you know. So it's just balancing the good and the evil, man. And we released our second single a few days ago called "Free Gun with Purchase," which is kind of about the culture in this country. And I got the idea for the title because seeing news articles over time there in different parts of the country, there was a car dealership, buy a truck, get a gun, get a bank account, get a gun, you know? So you're just like, man, this is insanity. So I was trying to touch on that. We have a third single coming. And so we're doing those three, and the record comes out August 7th. And then Manic Hispanic has a done record. We're working on a video for that, and for the single, and it'll be our first thing in many, 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 many years the band has done. And it'll also be my first album with the band. I'm really excited because I've been with the band since 2008. And I'm really excited about it. I can't believe it. And it's so exciting for me because I idolized these guys growing up. They were our band here. I was at the second Manic Hispanic show ever in the 90s. Like I followed them, and the day that I was like, I'm what? They asked me. Yeah, I couldn't believe they asked me to be in the band, you know? And then so we have that. I don't have a date for it yet. Hopefully when the presses start working again, we can figure that out, you know? But the songs are all done. And then Voodoo Glow Skulls, we've been working on recordings for a long time now, since we toured, writing, rewriting. Right. We know that we got to come correct on this, dude. You know, and Voodoo has always come out so strong with those classic records, and I think we're finding a really unique sound. And
I'm not surprised at all, because that whole tour, like, first of all, for the people out there, like, I think we did like 32 shows basically back to back.
Nuts!
And man, I mean, you get tight with people when you're, you know, day in, day out like that. And I love the sound with you singing. I gotta straight up say it, and I know everybody in my band feels the same way.
So cool. How did me and you make it? That first tour with me, I gotta tell you, I was under a lot of pressure, not because of that. I had just come off of having these really serious stomach issues. And dude, I couldn't drink, couldn't go to the bar. I just kind of kept it quiet, you know, and my stomach issues were causing all this, like the most insane reflux I could ever experience, man. Sleepless nights, and it was burning up my throat, dude. So I had like such a sore throat every night. And after some of the shows, I'd be like, hey guys, you know, and I got through that and I'm normal now. But dude, that whole tour, I was like, A, that many shows in a row, fuck, did you keep your voice? B, I was like, I can't believe I kept mine, you know, like I could still do it. Oh, so it was just...
And I remember, because we were talking about, you were so excited to go in to get that surgery, right? I mean, you needed to do, is that what?
I ended up being able to do everything natural, no surgery.
Amazing.
I got all the pills. I saw this amazing girl named Ivy. She's such a special person. She is the wife of my good friend Justin, and he said, you need to talk to my wife. She's a naturalist. She can help you get through this. So when I got back from that tour, dude, I went on the gnarliest cleanse, dude. I spent like 60 days only eating raw food before 4 o'clock every day.
Wow.
Yeah, raw fruits and vegetables.
That's intense.
Yeah, and seeds, which knocks out a lot of stuff for me. That's even crazier, okay? And like I was only drinking like juices, fruit, vegetables, smoothies, things like that. And if I ate something cooked, it could only be very limited, very specific types of ways of preparing a potato with nothing on it, or like some white rice. Nothing that could hurt my stomach. I was on this course of probiotics. I was also taking this thing called mastic gum, which is a bacteria that comes from trees. And dude, it rebuilt my entire insides. And after that 60 days, my skin changed. I felt like a different human being. And I proceeded with a pretty aggressive diet. And I stayed on a pretty much half raw diet for a while. And dude,
oh, wow.
It was like a hard reset on my system. It reset my brain. It reset my heart. You know what I mean? Like in the way that, like, I don't know, man. I was so stressed out, and it put me in such a bad dark place, and it made me depressed, you know, feeling sick. No matter what I ate, I felt sick every day. And dude, I'm not like that anymore. I can't believe it.
I'm so happy to hear that, because I saw you suffering a few nights there, and I mean, it showed on your face. You know, yes, you pulled through it and you attacked no one else knew it, but I could tell that, you know, it was hurting you there at that point. So I'm so happy to hear that.
Thank you, man. I love you. Thank you for saying that, man. Because, oh man, I was just like, there's a lot of nights where I was like, dude, I just got in this band. I'm ruining my chance of being in one of my favorite bands ever. Like, I was so nervous, dude. I did not want to let them down, dude. And like, I was
sure.
like, I got to go twice as hard as anyone ever right now. You know what I mean? I felt like I really had something to prove, you know?
Well, you did. You know that, right? You did, man. You fucking killed it.
I really appreciate that, man. Honestly, I'm a giant Voodoo fan, and I grew up going to Voodoo shows. And dude, before Frank retired, dude, I am a giant Frank fan, you know? And like, I love his lyrics. I love his voice, and he had so much power, and he's this big, strong dude. And I was like, dang, like, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? So I admire him
your
so
balls,
much.
man. Your balls are big, because it's hard. Like, I do understand exactly what you're getting on. You could say I'm confident in this world or whatever. That's one hell of a challenge, you know? And who else could they get that could step up to the plate like you did? I mean, good for them too, you know what I mean? Really, man.
Dang. Dude, you know, I'll never forget.
I can say that and know it, though, because like after that tour, there's so many people that would have quit after halfway, you know what I mean? Like, for sure. And I mean, an intense schedule like that, and driving through Rocky Mountains and snow on one end of the coast, and go just, you know, not one day off with 10-hour drives between. It was an intense one.
And you know what? A lot of people don't realize what tough touring is till they drive across Canada. You guys are made something different. You guys got a special grit, and like the dirt under my fingernails is not as tough as the dirt under your fingernails. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you know those drives, dude. When you're trying to make it to like to Thunder Bay, you know what I mean? Like, to get Thunder Bay to like Winnipeg, that stretch after Thunder Bay is treacherous, man. And
oh yeah, man.
And in the winter, oh.
I remember sliding on a fucking side of a mountain in BC once from a dead stop. Okay, but they closed down the road, and everybody was just stuck on the road. And I felt we had a trailer behind it, right? It started pulling, and I'm like, oh, fuck, we're done, you know? But luckily we got out of that one. But yeah, it's something. But I can't wait to drive down to California, man. I haven't fucking cracked that one yet. We almost did. We were at the border and ready to go, but damn.
We need you. We need you, dude.
Man, it's wild. But Nick, okay, I want to get back to the beginning here for a minute. You know how I said, how do you manage your time? I mean, the projects you're doing are all, first of all, incredible. The 3 bands you're singing with, and hopefully the podcast will come back up as well. But I mean, just time management, man, that's something else, man.
I don't know how we're doing it, dude. But dude, I'm just, dude, I gotta live really mercenary, man. You know what I mean? I'm just ready to go at all, you know. But I do literally, like, the whole, as you know, the whole rock and roll thing that everybody thinks you're living in every day. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I was up at 6 this morning, man, jumping on the email.
Well, that's it.
You know?
It's all about hard work too, you know. I mean, you can have all the skill in the world, but I mean, you have to be a trooper, and especially in these days of rock and roll, you know, it ain't what it used to be, you know. And just working, fuck, man.
It's hard. Honestly, sometimes you'll hear somebody say, like, I can't believe, you know, that band's big. My band's so. I'm like, you know what, man? He worked harder than you. He showed up. He answered his phone. You know what I mean?
The rules, yes, I do.
Harder, right? And yeah, it is fun.
Absolutely.
We both have fun, and dude, there's definitely a place for the party, and it's raging. But as we both know, the real party is that half hour you get to play on stage with your best friends and your family, dude.
Fuck yeah, man. That's what makes the other 11 hours a day worth it, right?
Exactly, dude. And like, you really have to focus and make your whole being and day be about that time. And you have to do that when you're not on tour too, you know, and like you're saying, time management, you know, dude, I have a long list in my notes, you know, what I'm doing on this day, what I'm doing on that day, this time, that time. You just have to be on top of it. The same way you'd have to be on top of it if you were a businessman in a suit working in an office managing whatever they manage. You know, like, dude,
absolutely. Without the assistant.
Right? Exactly, dude. So it's just the will to, you know, and the drive to want to do it, man. And it's the only thing I love, you know. It's all I want. You know, you emanate music from your being, dude. And dude, right? And that I live and
Thanks,
breathe
brother.
it. Dude, you're almost musical life. And it's all I can think about. It's all encompassing. And if I'm not thinking about my music, I'm obsessed over a song I heard.
Well, speaking of that, what really got you going at like when you started deciding, okay, I'm going to be a musician, you know, I want to do this. This is what I'm going to do. What inspired you?
Well, when I was young, I just loved music, you know, and I loved records. I remember going to flea markets with my parents. My parents worked at flea markets, you know, and we'd go around and there would be like a guy with a box of records. Oh, these are 50 cents or a buck. And I remember my mom would see me really interested in what are these, like looking at them, looking at my parents' records, and like really like I would study, as we did in our generation, study the jackets, look at the people, the characters behind them. They looked so larger than life. They were like superheroes. And no matter what genre it was just music. And then I started searching for records on my own. And the first record I bought on my own with my own money was out of flea market, out of a little milk crate. And it was the Beach Boys live in London, 1969. And
wow,
I bought a colorful record cover and had these interesting looking guys on it, you know, and I brought it home and was like, oh, what? Like, I couldn't believe how it spoke to me. And then from the Beach Boys, you know, it went to Chuck Berry. Then from Chuck Berry, I learned about Johnny Cash from my dad. And then from Johnny Cash, it went on and on and on and on. And then, you know, I started growing up through the 80s like we all did, and all this 80s music. And it was all just music to me. There wasn't any like preconceived notions of what you're supposed to be into or what's cool. So, dude, I literally heard Rat and was like, oh, this is rock and roll, cool. And then I heard Duran Duran and it was just as cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's funny because, like, you know, because I play a lot of ska, you're playing some hardcore stuff. You know, sometimes people think that's what is your inspiration all the time. I'm like, no, I take from as much from Iron Maiden as Toots and the Maytals. You know what I mean? Just soak it all in.
And ska was a big part of my life growing up, still is, obviously. But, like, I've always been a huge ska head. So in the 80s, me and my older brother, it was some kind of magazine I remember him buying at a shop and looking through it, and there was a poster in it for the English Beat. And
yeah, man.
I remember looking at Ranking Roger and the stripes on his head. He used to bleach in his hair. Remember he did that? He had the black hair stripes, and thinking that he was like the coolest human being I'd ever seen.
Well, it got me because, you know, like, I figured these people, like, yeah, you know, I was a little, you know, nervous because I grew up on a farm, right? So coming to a big city was a big deal for me. So, but then I see these people, I'm like, that guy has balls, man. Doesn't give a fuck what anybody thinks or anything. He ain't just trying to be cool. He's also saying I don't give a fuck at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I got from that.
Exactly. And you spent a lot of time growing up in Jamaica too, right? On the farm there?
Well, I didn't grow up there. I had a lot of people that were from Jamaica around me. And then we have a spot there that we go down to all the time that my parents rent out cabins or on a beach.
I've always been obsessed with Jamaican music and culture. And I've been fortunate enough to meet some great people from there, to talk to you about so much. You taught me a lot of stuff about Jamaica when we would talk. And I've always been really into it. And the one parallel thing that is interesting, because I've talked to people from Jamaica, they're like, oh man, Jamaica's just like Mexico, man. Your parents are just the same as our parents. It's farm life, dude. It's living off the earth, living from the land.
Absolutely. Well, see, that's the thing, because like in a place like Jamaica, I mean, you have the one highway going around the thing. That's where, you know, the coastline. But then as soon as you get past that there, it's country living. I mean, it really is country living.
Which is interesting, because there's always been a correlation between reggae music and country, which I think is, have you noticed that? It's amazing.
Absolutely.
Similar themes, you know. There's been some great Jamaican country covers, you know. So, but
dude, what did you ever hear that one where it was Willie Nelson and Toots together?
Yes.
They did that song still. Fucking amazing.
Funny you say that. We listened to that in the RV almost that whole tour.
I loved it. Even the production on that was amazing too, by the way.
Totally amazing. But yeah, I Wrecking Roger, Dave Wakeling left. You know, then they morphed into General Public and all the offshoots and through General Public, through all of that, dude, I was just always so blown away by them. And that was a big part of like me learning about music. And then I got introduced by punk. I'll never forget. I was sitting on the ground on my skateboard with another little kid in front of our elementary school, like after school or something. And this older, like punker kid came skating up, and he looked all cool, you know. And I remember, wow, you know, the one dangly earring and the punk, you know, 80s. And I remember him saying, "Oh, have you ever heard the Toy Dolls?" And I was like, "What is that?" You know, I didn't know what that meant. And played it on his little,
like, turn me on, man.
yeah. And he played it on a little boombox, and I remember being like, "What is this? This doesn't sound like the Michael Jackson record I have. This doesn't sound like the Beach Boys. This doesn't sound like Chuck Berry." You know, I couldn't stop. Awesome. Yeah, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then I started trying to figure out what punk was. And then I started seeing my first punkers. I remember going to the flea market with my parents when they worked there and seeing a guy with a mohawk and like staring at him and being so blown away. And then the whole Mr. T thing, I interpreted Mr. T. Right. I didn't know. I thought he was a punker.
Yeah, you know, I've come to think, but I never once thought about him in my life. But hey, Mr. T, you're punk as fuck, yo.
He really is. And I remember he had a mohawk, and I'll never forget telling my mom, like, I want a mohawk. I want a mohawk. And when I was really little, and her being like, what? You know, and not understanding. And my mom's told me that, you love this. My mom told me this, that when I was little, they asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And she said, I looked at her and I said, I want to be Mr. T when I grow up.
That's wild, man.
I still do. And,
well, see, because we were born close to age. I remember when Mr. T was like the thing, right? You know, he had his like cartoons and everything. He was the man, and everybody had his posters that have that, like, you know, a girl in a bikini on one side of the room and Mr. T on the other side of the room.
Thank you. I had a Mr. T poster. I can remember it vividly. It was in front of a brick wall like this, and Mr. T spray paint on the wall, and he
I remember it. I know the image you're talking about.
Yes, dude. Oh, I love that. I had that poster. I still have a Mr. T puzzle put together in a frame.
Wow, right on.
But so my fascination came from there, and then I got into junior high, or do they call it middle school in Canada or whatever? And I feel it's different, you know. But I got into junior high, and this kid came to school, and he had a Black Flag blank tape with Black Flag on it, and I was like, I've seen that symbol in Thrasher magazine, and I was super into skating, and I'm like, I've seen that. What does that mean? And he played it for me.
It's kind of scary, right? And you're like, ooh, what is this? You know,
all the dudes that had that symbol on their shirts or skateboards were scary fucking dudes, man. They meant business, you know. And I remember I had these skateboard wheels. I think they were they Rat Bones wheels? They're old Bones wheels from the 80s, you know. And I remember telling him, like, I'll give you these skateboard wheels if I can have that tape. And it was a shitty trade.
Did he go for the trade? Did he go for it?
Oh, yeah. They were fucking skateboard wheels, dude. A blank tape, you know. He's just like this fucking dum-dum, you know. And he was an older kid, so a high school kid. So I traded him. But that tape was the best decision I could have ever made in my life. Black Flag, dude.
Fuck yeah. I remember when I got Dead Kennedy's Bedtime for Democracy.
Dude,
Remember that? I still have the vinyl upstairs here. I still have it. But I remember the artwork.
oh,
You know, you just stare at the artwork forever. I find it sad that, you know, so many people are listening to music through Spotify and Apple Music. And so the whole art side of the music, I find, is disappearing. And that was a large thing. It wasn't just musicians and painters. They were artists, you know, and I miss that. I find it's kind of going away.
it is going away, but people like us still love art and thrive off of it. So we're still making the art. I know people don't intake as much of that as they used to, but the art aspect, I feel it has somewhat been lost, but I guess it's all on t-shirts now.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good way to see it. Because I always relate like music to, like, you think I had mentioned Iron Maiden before, you know, their album covers, their artwork and all that. Then Iron Maiden was with, you know, that, or the Dead Kennedys, the same thing, or the Cramps as well, and all these bands. And I always related the art to the music.
Dude, the Cramps got me through a lot of high school, dude.
Fuck yeah, brother. What's inside a girl?
It's so good. But, dude, I'm glad you brought Bedtime for Democracy. Dude, I had that tape, and, dude, I wore that thing out. You remember taking the broken tape and taping it back together?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And they even sold those little packs with the little strips so you can tape it perfectly and stuff like that, because that's how often they broke.
Yeah, dude. And you know, you got good at taking them apart and all that. I actually was friends with this kid, Raphael. He turned me on in middle school to, like, dude, he showed me the Smiths. He showed me the Cure. You know, he showed me a lot. Dude, he was the first person to show me Manu Chao when he was still in Mano Negra singing in that part of his career. This kid turned me on to every cool thing from middle school all the way through high school, you know? But, dude, he showed me the grit. Wow, dude, talk about a scam. This is the old way we used to illegally download music. So he would go to the record store, and he'd buy a tape, and he'd come home, and he would unscrew it and take the tape wheels out and put it in a blank tape case, put it back together, and return it. He'd glue the plastic back on and go exchange it. This dude had...
That's freaking brilliant.
Yeah. He had the most giant catalog of albums, and it was all the real tapes just in blank cases. And, like, dude, we started doing that, dude. Like, oh, yeah, or you could return it. This doesn't work. It's blank. You know, like, dude, like...
That's wild, man. Because, like, the amount of work, and even, you know, just to think that up, too, as well. But, I mean, to sit there and undo every one. You know, music is powerful. It'll make you do crazy shit.
It will make you do the most fucked up, gnarly shit, the most awesome shit, the most inspiring shit, you know what I mean? But, like, dude, yeah, I mean, as you know, you had to go, in the old days, you had to go to great lengths to find music. And things like we all did, like studying record covers, like, why did they thank this group? It must be a good band if Bad Religion likes it.
Exactly. No, it's true. You always, you know, name your peers in it.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what made a scene as well, right? You know, that was the way to get a scene, is by talking about the other bands. Because, you know, and, you know, what's cool, you know, somebody needs to be pointed in a direction.
And you would go so as far as you could to that weird record store that was so far away and obscure, to, like, they might have something you're looking for that you can't get anywhere else. You know, like, it was tough. Like, I remember there was a kid at our school. He was like this goth kid, Ryan. He was awesome, dude. And he had hair and he's really dark. But he had a scooter, and, like, we were like, dude, because the record store was, like, I don't know, like an hour away from us, you know? And he was like, all right, we all save up our lunch money all week. All right, dude, if they have any buttons from this band, or if they have any tapes from this band, or if they have this kind of music, dude, here's all I have, dude. Like, dude, bring me back something. Everybody would give him money. He'd ride his scooter super far, come back with stuff for everybody. You know what I mean? Things like, you know, you had to work hard to get cool music.
Absolutely. Like, you know, being 15 years old and taking a parent's car and driving into the city without a license to go see concerts and shit, you know? Oh, shit. Sorry, Mom.
Dude, exactly. Dude, that's amazing, dude. And that's what you did. And I know kids are doing things in their own way now. And I will say this, dude. I throw a lot of DIY shows here, and I see a lot of young bands, and we're in good hands, man. The youth is doing really cool shit. They're doing rad shit. We just don't really know how to interpret it all. But in their own way, they're living their own music struggle, man. You know, and they're doing it.
I'm so happy to hear you say that. I mean, like our last album, we called it Stand with the Youth. But part of that is always knowing, like, as soon as you start, you know, or hear anybody around you start saying, oh, the new generation, or, you know, this, that's when you're starting to lose touch. You got to, you know, stay plugged in and fucking know what's coming up and know what the kids are thinking, because they are the power of the future.
Absolutely. And I have to stop myself from sounding like the old man that's like, get off my lawn, you kids.
Yeah, man, totally. Now I'm like, hey, you want to fucking learn how to cook a steak properly? Come with me, kid. You know what I mean? You got to pass things on too.
Exactly. And they're like sponges. They're like us, man. We're no different. And, you know, but there is kids doing, I think about, oh, you know, it was crazy back then and blah, blah, blah. Yo, the world's way crazier now, you know? So these kids got something to say, dude. And
absolutely. Awesome. And they're so much faster. I mean, a good way to look at it is look at a movie from the 60s or 70s and the pace of it compared to something now. I know that sounds funny, but it's just because we're, you know, they're going fast, man.
It's true. And they're so much more advanced than us in every way whatsoever. And like, dude, they're so over the shit that we were into, dude. And I get it. You know, we were over what our parents like too. But kids now are like, favorite TV star? I don't even watch TV. Who's that? You know?
Exactly. My daughter thinks I'm dumb as shit. You know what I mean?
They're into their favorite TikTok star or YouTube user or whatever, you know, and that's great. You know, that's fine. They're doing shit that's way beyond us, and they're taking it to the next level. I think it's only going to make music bigger and better. And music now has become such a more all-inclusive thing and so much greater, and it's a great equalizer, and it's bringing more love to everybody, you know. And, you know, okay, when iPods were still a thing, isn't that funny that iPods are already not?
I know. I'm just thinking about how, like, that's not new anymore. How did that happen?
Yeah, exactly. But as an example, like Dan, the guitarist from Death by Stereo, back when the iPods hit and that was a big thing, I remember him telling me, like, dude, the kids are rad right now. And I go, in what way? He goes, we used to search and search and search to find certain things, and we ended up kind of boxing ourselves into these only certain genres we'd listen to: ska, punk, you know, new wave, or what, you know. Oh, fuck this, fuck that. He's all, dude, I went to this kid's house, and little kids are going to every one of their friends' house and dumping their hard drive on their iPod. So he goes, I looked at this kid's iPod, and he goes, I found Miley Cyrus and Lamb of God in the same iPod. And he's like, this kid's all right.
I mean, access. But, like, not even just in music, though. They have so much access. These days, I think there's going to be a big switch to in teaching, because kids don't have to remember shit anymore. It's more important to know how to find shit.
100%, dude. 100. How to wade through it and find what you're looking for. And that's what these kids are good at. Because I'll look at something and it's an ocean of madness. And I'm like, dude, I can't figure this out. And some other kid's going, oh, I just found the coolest punk band ever, or whatever, you know. I think we just need to open our hearts, open our ears, and listen to the youth, man, like you were saying, because they are who's going to take us into the future. And they already are in the future. They've already taken it there. We're catching up with them, you know. But, dude, it's truly inspiring. And what some kids are doing with music, it's like, dude, there's already kind of like a movement of bands where I've noticed seeing these DIY touring bands where they're like, oh, Instagram, we're not even on Instagram. We're not even on the fucking internet anymore. You've gone completely opposite. It's come full, like fuck the internet bands. And you're like, wait, what? You know, but they have this underground following, you know?
Well, you know how you're saying before, we'd always, you know, get into one genre and stuff. And I guess if you want to lock down a tight scene and make it cool, maybe that is the way. It's off the internet, and then you're cool as fuck just to be allowed into that bubble.
It's kind of rad, dude. I like that. But there is something to be said.
I gotta go.
but you know, there is something to be said for our generation, though, because I do feel this. I do feel like, let's say on the off chance this asteroid hits a satellite and the internet clips for 2 months, people are going to fall to their knees, and we're going to be out there handing out flyers.
That's right. And it's funny you say an asteroid going to hit them. I think it's going to be more of a case of somebody has the switch and says, oh, if I turn this off, how much are you going to give me to turn it all back on again?
Oh, yeah, dude. That's for real, dude.
That's real power. Who has that switch?
Somebody's got it, too. Somebody has that fucking switch and is just like, oh, I can't wait to pull this thing. I'm going to get rich. But, you know, at the end of the day, though, I think the kids are all right. We're in good hands on every level whatsoever. Dude, the way kids play guitar, the learning curve has been shattered. The way they write songs, the way they skateboard, the way they do everything, that learning curve has been shattered, dude. And it's kind of rad, dude. It is inspiring. Makes me want to keep pushing and explore, find new voices, and, you know.
My brother, that is absolutely beautiful. And on that note, we're going to leave it to the kids, and hopefully they'll figure out a way to get us out of this whole mess that we're in. So we're counting on you out there, all right, guys? Because, you know, you got the flame.
Yeah, dude. You got the flame, dude.
Yeah, man. You too, my man. Efrem, I can't tell you how great it was to spend some time with your face today. Fucking great
Toyota.
seeing you, brother.
In the
Toyota, yes. Before we go, my lady Christina said, I want to meet Efrem so bad, and I want to come down to California to do it. And I said, baby, as soon as they open the gates, we'll figure out how to do that.
Please, and I can't wait to introduce you to my girlfriend Shannon.
Yeah, man.
Dude, and we'll all hang out. I'm going to go hit this abandoned parking lot over here where there's no other people around, so I can skate a little bit and try and blow off some steam. And
don't ever change, my brother. Don't ever change. And thanks so much for putting away a little time.
Much, dude. From the bottom of my heart, you know I love you, dude. And when this is over,
and you know I love you. Fuck yes, brother.
Send my love to the 45s.
Absolutely. And I don't have to ask them, but they all send their love as well, my man. I'll talk to you real soon, bro. Peace out.
I love you, dude.